Recording has started. Okay, so thank you for coming to P and Z Board of Appeals for tonight. We have Randy, Steve Thompson, Ken Edwards, myself, Mark Travella. Oh, Frank. Frank is with us also. Let's open the meeting at 7:09 and welcome. As long as we have a quorum, let's just get rid of the one quick item. Our minutes from our last meeting, basically, we opened the meeting and then we had a wonderful presentation and no other business. So just an acknowledgement of our guest of last meeting time. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. And all in favor, and the minutes are accepted. So our first order of business tonight, the variance for a sign at Torrington High School. And gentlemen at the podium.
All right, thank you.
Please identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Kemp Morhart. I'm an architect with the SLAM Collaborative Architects in Glastonbury, Connecticut. We are the proud architect of the new middle high school and central administration's office. We're here tonight to talk about a variance for the freestanding sign for the new school. Nate, as a matter of business, I have the receipts from the letters. I can get those to you.
Thank you.
After the fact. Okay, great. If you could advance one slide.
Sure.
The freestanding sign was part of our special permit approval back a couple of years ago, and it was planned to be located on Winthrop Street and Major Best Drive, right at the intersection. I've highlighted that on the plan.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me real quick. Nate, I don't know that you're sharing the right screen. I just see a desktop with a partial drawing.
All right, thank you. I'll modify it just a second.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption.
No, thank you for. There, is that better?
Okay,
Yep.
great. So it was planned to be a freestanding sign. What we did not have in the site plan package was a detailed design. So that's what we're here for tonight. If you could advance one slide. We've gone through a site or sign design process with the building committee and the Board of Ed and have developed a sign that is slightly over the limits in two factors. One is the height of the sign, and I'll go into details as to why in just a moment. And the other is we'd like to reuse the existing electronic messaging boards that were on the existing sign that was on the high school parcel for the past several years and reincorporate those into the new sign. And those electronic boards are slightly over the allowable for the current regs. So looking at the notes on the side, we're looking for a freestanding sign that's 6 feet tall and about 8'4" wide. You'll note the static portion of the sign, the Torrington High and Middle School Central Administration portion is just over 10 square feet up at the top of the sign. And then the balance of the signage area is the electronic messaging board at 21 square feet. This is a double-sided sign, so that this will be what you see here in this image would be on both sides of the sign. The lettering at the top is intended to be backlit, 4-inch cast letters. It will be a painted steel sign structure, and then reusing of the existing digital display sign. We did work to keep the total signage area within and under the regs of 32 square feet total. You'll see the calculation off on the right, where we have the 10.3 static sign and then 21 square feet of electronic sign to keep it just under 32. And the height exceeds the 5 feet due to raising of the electronic board about 1.3 feet above the grade to avoid rain and snow contact. I guess you could go to the next slide, Nick. So the hardship, as we see it, the electronic messaging boards have been previously permitted on this high school parcel. and our existing 21 square feet each. Reuse of the existing electronic displays we feel should be permitted despite exceeding the 16 square feet limit. We've tried, but we cannot incorporate the existing electronic messaging boards within a new sign and include the necessary static message of high school, middle school, and central administration within that 5-foot height, and also accommodate that 1.3 feet raise from the grade. As I mentioned, the proposed sign is under 32 square feet, which is the maximum permitted, and the height needs to be increased to permit that offset from the ground, so we don't have interference with the electronic components. And then finally, we've noted that the new sign regulations permitting electronic message boards don't address raising those electronics off grade in a static freestanding sign. So that is the conclusion of the presentation. I want to open it up for questions.
Yeah, I'd also, a point of business, we didn't formally open the public hearing, so we have to read the newspaper notice and actually formally open the hearing. We have this recorded, so we'll kind of, enter this into the record as a part of your consideration, but I do have the newspaper notice here. I guess if you want to read it, Mark, it's kind of hard because no one else is in person. Usually someone else
I
will
don't
read
mind.
it.
Just give it to me. Sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll go for it. All right.
This is why they always have younger chairmen. So I will read the notice.
Right.
All right. So the City of Torrington Zoning Board of Appeals legal notice. That's what I'm reading, the small
And
print.
so you'll read it and then you'll open the public hearing with
Okay.
a vote.
All right. So I'll read the legal notice. The Zoning Board of Appeals has scheduled a public hearing on the following application on Monday, June 10th, 2024 in City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. The variance applicant, Kemp Morhart, of SLAM Collaborative Architects, location of 277 Winthrop Street. The proposal is a digital sign size variance from 16 square feet to 21 square feet, a variance of 5 square feet, and overall sign height variance from 5 to 6 feet, variance of 1 foot. The hearing is at 7 o'clock. Copies of the above mentioned plan and application are on file in the Land Use Office, City Hall, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. And my name is beneath that. Isn't that interesting? Mark Travella, Zoning Board of Appeals. Dated this 30th day of May, 2024.
So now you would ask. For vote.
And gentlemen, may I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
I second. Steve
And
Thompson.
thank you very much. All in favor? Okay, our public hearing is opened.
So now that it's open, we've heard from the applicant and you can ask if there's anyone else from the public who wants to make a comment.
And do we have that? Is there anyone in the audience that has some questions? Yes. Could you come to the podium, please? And just for the record, just please state your name, please.
Fiona Capabianca, 3 Stone Ridge Drive, Torrington, Connecticut,
Thank you.
taxpayer in Torrington. I would like to ask that the board consider granting this waiver due to the fact that my feeling is that this should be grandfathered in. There would be a significant expense to the project if we were to have to purchase another electronic sign. The sign did meet the requirements when it was existing prior to building. So I don't believe this is a new sign. So I'm hoping that you will consider supporting this waiver and save the taxpayer some money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have a comment? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, with no other public comments made, we close the public hearing? Or
Yeah,
that
if
portion?
no one else, you can close the hearing and go into deliberations. Or you can, I guess, if you wanted to make any other comments before we close, I mean, you just presented and. Okay.
Okay, no additional comment.
I will, just as a note of clarification for the fact that this is a pre-existing sign. So the prior location of the sign was within the high school campus, but not visible from the public right away en route to, on Winthrop Street to, it wasn't visible from Winthrop Street. So our sign regulations do not require permitting for signs that are not visible from the right of way. So what we consider to be on-campus signage doesn't require it. So this is a pre-existing sign that's being moved to a point where it's visible and thus requires a permit from the land use office, just as a point of clarification.
Can I ask a question? Just a bit about what
You can ask it of me or the applicant, I guess.
Well, I would just have a question, given where the sign is going to be put, does it have anything to do with the parcel of property that is at the beginning of the driveway as opposed to where the high school is being built? As I know, they're two separate parcels.
I don't, do you want to answer that point?
That's old Mario,
Yeah, just,
4420 Farm Lane in Torrington. Couple things, that parcel you're speaking of and where the sign is going is owned by the city via the Major Bessie Trust. There's a memorandum of understanding for cross easements, parking, for the pool, for the school, et cetera, et cetera. And the sign is going to be on that lot. Additionally, the sign's former location on Major Best Drive, which is a private road, but it is a city street, was visible because it was placed at the intersection of, I guess that would be called Daily Drive and Major Best Drive. Granted, 30, 40 yards away, 50 yards away, but it was visible. And to echo, and well, I won't say anymore because you closed public hearings.
well, I
Well, that
don't,
was actually
I don't think you,
clarification.
I don't think you closed the hearing yet.
Well, I was just asking a question just to clarify where
Yeah.
the sign
Yeah,
was going.
okay. Yeah, but I think it's all admissible. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I don't have anything to add to that. I have up here, I'm showing the sign just for everyone's point, just
Is that that's the little?
this right here. Can the folks on Teams see my cursor?
Yeah.
So this is the sign here. This is Winthrop Street. The location of the former sign, and the folks in the audience can correct me if I'm wrong on this. This is a new, they reworked this. Is it up here? Is it up here? Okay, but that's not where it is now.
Oh, it's on the ground.
Well, no,
Behind the trailer, that's where it was installed.
the high, it's my understanding, wait, where's the high school, the existing high school on this? I don't know if you guys can, yeah, help me out on this.
There's a lot on there.
Cause I think,
This is where, come up, where's the entrance? This is where the sign was located, right? Now, when construction started, this all got ripped up and
okay,
the sign was temporarily located near the little theater.
okay, that's what I'm thinking there. So it was located,
Yeah, it was here for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. And it's been, well, once up near the little theater for a year.
We just moved it temporarily out of construction.
okay. So, I mean, it is a pre-existing sign, but it's in a new location, so it doesn't, I mean, that doesn't enjoy the same grandfather status as like a sign that's been in the same place. As soon as you move a sign, it requires new permitting, so. But it was visible from the right of way.
I'm good
at
to
that
close
location.
public hearing and move on to a vote. I'm running out of time here. So if you want to keep
Okay,
quorum,
if folks want to discuss this more or take more time on it, you can always continue it. I mean, you have the public hearing open now. You can either close it and then continue it, or you could continue it, or you can make a decision. It's up to you.
I'm personally good to close and vote if you guys are up for it.
Yeah, I second that. I think this is an obvious vote here, so I'm for that.
It's an obvious what? I'm sorry, I can't
I-
hear.
He
I
said
think-
an
I think-
obvious vote.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any, I don't see an issue with this. I don't think we need further deliberation on.
My committee?
Yes, I'll move it. And if you're going to deliberate, just, you can close the hearing at least and do
Well, I
that.
think I'd like to have a discussion with the committee too, so if I can close the.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I just would like us to deliberate for a second. Being on this committee for so long, the obvious question here is not so much the sign itself, but it's the hardship that as a committee, we have to pay more attention to. And I'm not really seeing the difference between having a sign that's the wrong size. That really isn't a hardship as far as what we would consider a hardship when it comes to making these decisions for properties in Torrington.
Mark, I think you probably should just ask for a motion to close the hearing and formally close it.
So we should make a motion to.
If you want to deliberate now.
I would like to.
Okay, so yeah,
So we can-
ask for a motion.
A
and
motion to formally close the
The public hearing.
public hearing from the committee.
So moved.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Thank you. So
And second,
Second.
that was Randy.
yep. All in favor, or sorry, you can,
We're all in favor, yes?
Aye. All.
Aye.
Yeah.
okay,
There's Frank.
yeah, I got it.
So as we were looking at the reasons why there's a hardship, I'm not seeing where is the hardship in this case? The sign is the wrong size. And it's being moved to another place, but the regulations for our signage is smaller. And if I remember correctly, I mean, there's so much emphasis on signage in town. I mean, we've even reduced the height of signs all around town to reduce unnecessary signage and size historically. So why are we increasing the sign size simply because it's the wrong size at this moment? You know, when didn't, where did the sign regulation come from recently? Isn't that from Planning and Zoning Committee?
Yeah, planning and zoning approved the regulation amendment. I believe that was in April. It was April or May. I don't remember.
So they must have made that recommendation based on their understanding of the sizes of the sign they want.
They approved
Yeah.
the regulation.
So
amendment.
we're being, I mean, I don't really see the hardship in the respect of what a hardship should reflect upon for the usage of the property. It's still wrong size sign. I don't know how you guys feel, but just, you know, think of that going forward. We need to be conscious of what a hardship is. And I want us to consider the wording here and what it is the committee is obligated to consider a hardship and grant changes.
But I mean, I understand that, Mark. And as far as the hardships that were laid out, but I mean, I think that there's also the factor of essentially repurposing probably an expensive piece of equipment that the taxpayers surely would appreciate. And I, you know, and I'm not sure if the regulations account for that type of factor. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not clear cut, and to me, I think that's why that lands here in the Board of Appeals, so that we
Exactly.
evaluate these exceptions and make a determination.
You know, I'm remembering my predecessor and him harping on points like this, because what if the sign was a larger size simply because it was purchased and being moved from other part of the property, and we were being asked to allow it for, say, double instead of 5 feet? Is that good enough argument? Is that a hardship for us to accept and approve that kind of a change and setting that precedent going forward? Because that's what we're opening up.
It's still, so if I remember correctly, the signage requirement was what, 32 feet? So they did design the sign to be, I think, 1 foot under the total space requirement. It just happens to be a foot higher. And that's due to the fact that they repurposed the screens so that we didn't have to purchase new ones. So I feel like there's adequate intent to fit the signage requirement while also repurpose of probably a perfectly operable piece of equipment so that we don't have to purchase another. That's where I'm coming from. That's what I look at.
Well, I want to say that I don't think it's our committee's responsibility to make, you know, consider a financial hardship. This is not that kind of question. Our hardship have to do with the zoning rules that we have established in town. Not on how much of a piece of equipment can or cannot cost, and repurposing is all well and good, but it's still not conforming to what's been requested by the Planning and Zoning Committee to begin with.
The hearing is closed.
There's other digital signs in town that.
We're not talking about other digital signs right now, sir. We're talking about this one here at the high school.
So
We can't submit any,
I
we
can't.
can't have it because it's been closed. Sorry, Mario.
Well, I'm just asking the committee to consider that because going forward, we may run into other situations like this where repurposing or reusing existing equipment may come into question and it may not fit our requirements. And do we grant things just because it's economically cheaper? Or do we stick to our rules and just
Or
keep that in mind? Sir, I'm
But-
sorry, there's no comment. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's no comment.
I would like to speak if I can.
Yep, we can
Steve
hear you.
Thompson. Yeah, so from my perspective, like it's a benefit to the town as a whole. This is a town property that's gonna be the town high school. And just because we approve one thing doesn't mean we're approving everything blanket statement in the future for this hardship. I think the best use case is what they want to do and propose. It makes sense to me why they'd want it raised off the ground so it doesn't get destroyed by, rain or snow. And again, like, just because this is what the Board of Appeals is for, to make these types of decisions case by case. And in this case, because it does benefit all the taxpayers in the town to have this sign here for the high school, I do think it's something I would be for and not necessarily against. Even taking into consideration what you're saying, how this decision will be looked at in the future.
Well,
I'm
thank
just
thank
trying to
you
wrap
for
my
that. Go
head
ahead,
around.
Ken.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what the options are here, because obviously one is we just grant as it is. Or we say not, to your point, this doesn't fall under a hardship that falls within our purview to grant. Or like, what are their options as far as, I mean, if they didn't have it a foot off the ground, would there be any question here? As nonsense. I'm just trying to figure out what all the different options and variables are here.
So if I may, Ken, they're applying for two variances. So the first
Okay.
variance is for, to go from the allowed digital signage of, get what the application said. Yep, 16 square feet. That's allowed by zoning for a digital government sign. So 16 is what's allowed. They're proposing 21 square feet. So that's a variance of 5 square feet. And they're asking for a variance on the height to go from 5 to 6.
Mhm.
And if you'd like, because it's
And,
already been admitted into the record, I can pull up their PowerPoint and look at their arguments for hardship again and bring them up so you all can see them. Would that be helpful?
yes, please, Nate.
Give me a quick second.
But you had it.
I do have it. It's weird. I have to share things in a weird way.
Well, folks, I gotta drop. Sorry. I have other commitments.
All right, I would make a motion to continue then, well, I guess you can make you've closed the public hearing, so you can continue the deliberations at the next meeting.
Shall we do that? Gentlemen?
Yeah, if you want,
Sir.
I mean.
Sounds like
I'm
we're
good
not
to
gonna
go.
have quorum. Yep, so I think we have to.
Yeah,
Steve left, right?
yeah, he's leaving now, so if someone wants to make
I make a motion to continue.
Second on that?
Seconded.
Thank you,
Second.
Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Randy Feldman.
Okay. So we can close this.
yeah, so you can adjourn at this point because he's already hopped off, so,
He's gone, so we lost our quorum anyway.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's call the meeting adjourned. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Ken, Randy? Steve, Frank?
Adjourn.
Did Frank say? I think Ken said something.
I think Ken,
Yeah.
I make
Okay,
a
Ken
motion
and
to
Ken and
adjourn the
Randy.
meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so the meeting is concluded at the moment.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. The meeting's adjourned, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.